Hi everyone, today I'm going to be filming the perfect palette tag. I have all of the questions up on my phone and I am so excited to do this tag because basically all the eyeshadows I use are in palettes, so this is definitely something up my alley, and so let's just get started. Oh, some of them I've kind of like combined the questions because like a palette can fall into both of those questions in my opinion, and some of them I kind of cheated on and have more than one. Whoops. So the best packaging, I gave that to the Naked 3, and I just really like how it's tin, so it's very, very sturdy, and I just really like the color of it and how it's a big gigantic mirror on top, and I personally like this packaging out of all the Nakeds the best just because it has like texture on it too, and I just really like the color of it. The next question is the best color payoff, and that is just in general my Naked palettes. They are the softest shadows I own, the most colorful, or not colorful, but like the most color payoff, and they are just amazing. The next question is most versatile, and I have two, and so the first is basically your most basic palette in the world, the BH Cosmetics 88 color shimmer eyeshadow palette, and they have this in the colorful option, which is what I'm going to be showing you right now, and then they have the neutral one. I have the colorful one here because you can basically get any and every look out of this palette. When I'm doing like Halloween looks or just looks where I want like some type of color in them, I basically own every single color here, and I don't really use colorful eyeshadows all too often, so this dime size amount is the perfect amount for me. And then we have your True Rose of Neutrals right here, and I just think this is definitely a totally versatile palette, and it's really, really cheap. And then if you are talking neutrals, the most versatile palette for that is definitely Lorac Pro palette. It has 8 matte and 8 shimmer eyeshadows of basically your most neutral colors in the world, and so you can get any neutral look out of this palette. It has basically every single neutral eyeshadow you will ever need. Best for travel. Okay, this is probably not going to be most people's best for travel palette, but when I am traveling, it's usually to hot places, and when I'm going to hot places, I don't like to wear a lot of makeup. So I usually just toss a simple eyeshadow on top of my eye, and then I'll have like a palette with like one dark color if I want to like smoken it up a little bit. And so the palette for me for that is the Marc Jacobs Lolita. But this is like my travel palette just because I use such basic eyeshadows on a trip. When I go, most people want to bring something that have a ton of colors. This is definitely not one that has every single neutral eyeshadow in the book, but for me, this is my best one for travel. And also for the Marc Jacobs Lolita palette, this is definitely my school palette as well because the colors are really, really light. So when I'm going to school, I just like to toss one of these on and maybe do a little bit of these darker ones if I want to darken it just a tad. But this is perfect if you are trying to wear eyeshadow to school but don't want to be like really out there and too dark of neutrals. This is definitely the way to go because it's definitely a lot lighter neutrals, and when I'm going to school I just swipe a color on my lid. I don't do crazy dramatic looks, so that is the palette I go to for school as well. And if you do want something that has every single eyeshadow in the book, it's definitely Lorac Pro. I just mentioned this in my last question though, which is why it's not in this one. The next question is your biggest regret, and this actually falls into the best color names because it has the cutest color names, but it's my biggest regret, and it is the Too Faced Shadow Bonbons kit. I rarely ever use this just because it kind of has a little bit more colors in it, like this top row with the purples and then this like pink, and like some of these colors I feel like are dupeable, like this matte brown I feel like you can get in the Naked palette. Cinnamon Sugar reminds me exactly of Half Baked from the Naked palette. Coffee Bean is just your basic matte dark brown. So like these I find are very dupeable colors, so I don't use it all too often because I'd rather reach for something like my Nakeds. So that is why it is my biggest regret, but it does have the cutest color names. This is Shadow Bonbons obviously, so it's like dessert, and it has such cute names like Cut the Cake, Candy Rose, Hot Cocoa, Marzipan, Coffee Bean, Licorice Latte. It's like really, really cute little names, and I definitely think Too Faced has some of the best eyeshadow names out there. So the next question is least used, and basically I would think that your least used would be your biggest regret, which is why I'm not going to show a palette because it's still the Too Faced Shadow Bonbons kit, because I'm going to regret something I don't use. That's why it is my least used one. So your most used, most loved desert eyeshadow palette is the next question, and I honestly do not know how to pick just one because these three combined are basically my perfect eyeshadows. And I'm going to have to say, if I was going to go to a desert island, I would pick out of a bag of these three because I wouldn't be able to decide myself. So, the first one is the Naked 2. I personally prefer this over all the other Nakeds just because I love cool toned eyeshadows. So this is definitely more up my alley. The next one is my Inglot eyeshadow palette. I love this basically because I made it myself and it has every color I like. And I use this religiously. These neutral colors I use all the time during the week, and when I want like more purples or like want to smoken up my look, I use these more purpley colors. And if you want a what's in my Inglot eyeshadow palette, let me know because I will film it for you and tell you all the colors I have in here with swatches and stuff. I just personally did film this and I accidentally deleted the video, so I need to film it again if you guys want it. And then my last one is the If I Was Going to Be on a Desert Island Lorac Pro palette, because like I mentioned before, not going to ramble on again, just you can create any look. It has your most basic neutral shade, so it's perfect. So yeah, that was my perfect palette tag. Sorry if some of the palettes like overlapped questions. I just loved some of them for a ton of different questions. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and leave your favorite palettes down in the info bar so maybe I will try them, and I will see you all real soon. Bye!